Okay, it looks like a good amount more people were able to join, so we're going to go ahead and get started. But before I switch the screen, I would like to point out that we have a questions chat that you guys will be able to post questions in throughout the webinar. To make sure that's working, if y'all could just type in there, let me think of a question. Since the Olympics are coming up, how about you type in the event you're most excited for, and then I will make sure that questions chat is working, and we'll go ahead and get started. Ooh, yay, everybody. There was like one, two, three, four, like five people at the same time said gymnastics. And gymnastics is winning by a lot, but I do see some swimming and diving, women's gymnastics, swimming, surfing, soccer. Oh, I'm gonna pentathlon. Oh, y'all, if I butchered that, I'm really sorry. I can't pronounce that. But yes, mostly gymnastics. I honestly forgot about this event, but my sister said beach volleyball. And I do really enjoy watching that. So I think I'm excited for that. I do like the track and field just because I think it's amazing, like how fast some of them can run and throw things. But gymnastics is probably the go-to. Like it's just so exciting seeing all of them. So let me switch a screen. Y'all keep putting those in. Ooh, somebody said soccer. Oh, there's two soccers. I already read that, but that's good too. And I know I said I'd get started, but one more. Someone said surfing. I don't know if you guys have seen the videos, but the waves of where they're going look so insane and scary. So I think that will be really cool to watch people surf on those like massive waves that you'll usually only see in like cartoons. But all that to say, keep posting those in the chat. I'm going to be presenting today. My name's Hannah Gunderson, and Sarah Beth is going to be co-hosting with me today. She's going to be in the chat reviewing all of your answers, answering them as they come in, and then if there's some that she thinks will be good for everybody to go to, or give the answers to, I should say, she'll read them at the end, and then we'll cover them for everybody here. But yeah, okay, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to pass it over to Sarah Beth. She's going to give you a little intro about OmegaFi, and then we'll get into everything you need to know about OmegaRecruit.
Thank you, Hannah. Yeah, so just a little background information on OmegaFi. So for more than 30 years, OmegaFi has provided technology solutions to help customers manage their finances, streamline their operations, recruit new members, and communicate with their members. So whether it's working with 57 different headquarters or local chapters, house corporations, IFC and Panhellenic councils, and alumni associations across more than 650 campuses, we remain the industry leader when it comes to technology in the fraternity and sorority community. We're based out of Columbus, Georgia, and we securely process more than 1.1 million per day for our clients and have securely processed more than 4 billion since 1992. We are also deeply committed to serving, promoting, and advancing the fraternity and sorority experience. We aim to make raving fans with every individual or group we work with by reaching, innovating, and acting with agility. We challenge ourselves to dream big every day and to help others achieve their own dreams. To say we're passionate about what we do is an understatement, and it's that passion that has encouraged our clients to trust us to do the heavy lifting so they can focus on their mission and having fun.
Thank you, Sarah Beth. Now moving on to our next slide. We're going to go over our agenda, and then from there, we're just going to start knocking everything out. So first thing we're going to go over is tips for a successful recruitment. After that, we're going to go over logins and account setup. Then we're going to do the main menu and features being in actually OmegaRecruit. So you guys will see how to set everything up in there, what it looks like, all the different features you guys have, reports, all of that. And then we're going to go over voting and reporting. So once we pull up the ballot, put in a few test votes, you'll see how that reporting works. And then after all of that, we'll do the Q&A at the end. Like I said, you can post questions in the chat as things go on. Sarah Beth will answer you. If it's something that is good for everybody to hear, we'll go over it. But if it's a question that's maybe very specific to your national or international organization about how you guys specifically vote, then obviously she'll just answer you in the chat. We won't share that with everyone since that is private to y'all's chapter. I will say if you're putting questions in the chat, it may be helpful to put which organization you're with. So that way when Sarah Beth is giving you an answer, it's an answer that applies to y'all's chapter. Okay, so for our tips, number one is login. I know this seems straightforward, but it will save you guys so many headaches, so much time. Make sure all of your members can log in. Anybody who's going to be voting in OmegaRecruit and needs to see it. Also, if you have like advisors who are going to be helping you in OmegaRecruit, like reviewing those reports, all that, make sure everybody can log in at least 1 week before recruitment starts. You just want to give yourself that time where if anyone is having a hard time logging in, that they can reach out to our login support team, or if you need to adjust their email. A lot of times the issue you'll run into is maybe they're trying to log in with their school email and they're actually put in there with their personal email. It'll just let you guys figure those things out so you can update the email addresses, make sure everybody can log in, they know where to go. And that way, when recruitment starts, you aren't on a crunch being like, you know what, there's a party starting in 10 minutes and Hannah can't get into her account. So definitely log in at least a week before, make sure everybody's feeling good. You could probably do it at your polish week to make sure all your members there are able to get into their account. Second thing will be practice. So I will be using the practice files in this webinar, and I'll show you where you can get those on OmegaRecruit. You're going to want to practice to get familiar with how everything works together, how the process is, which is going to be, like importing PNMs and setting up rounds and importing your parties. We're going to go over all of that, but also you may want to practice with your members who are going to be voting. I remember my chapter, we always did a mock recruitment during Polish Week. So you'll be able to use these test PNMs, or if you want to make your own file with PNMs, if you have friends and family coming to do a mock recruitment with you guys. I remember we always would bring our friends, people would have their boyfriends, and we would do practice recruitment. You could make a PNM list with that and upload it, so that way your members can also practice voting, know what those scores are going to look like, know what the ballot's going to look like. And then the last thing is train. So review webinars, attend a webinar like you are right now, so you're training, and then be comfortable and confident with the tools available to you and others. So again, practice is going to make you really comfortable, but also just knowing what resources you have. So that way, if you run into something where you're like, I remember going over this, but I can't remember exactly what it is, you know where you can find the answer to that. So that's going to be in our help center. We have a little support button, knowing about our recruitment support team. All of those things are going to make sure that you guys are calm and ready and confident going into recruitment. So going over these activation emails, this is what your chapter is going to get to set up their OmegaRecruit account. You only need one person in your chapter to do this. So this is not the same as your members getting their login to make OmegaRecruit. This is setting up your chapter. So this is the email you'll get. Just follow the steps in here. You can see important reminders. Number one, only one person from your chapter will set up the site. After that, you can set up multiple users to have admin access. And add your chapter members. But you're going to want to go through all these things, make sure y'all have paid and you can get into your account and everything's set up. Once you do that and you add your users, and I'll show you what that looks like in OmegaRecruit in a second, your members are all going to get these login emails to log into their OmegaRecruit account. So again, a big issue that people seem to run into is members will be added with their school email, try to log in with their personal email or vice versa. They say they can't get into their account, and really what it is, you just need to update the email address in OmegaRecruit. If they logged in last year, they should be able to use their same username and password as long as you added them with the same email. You can click create your account. And if you use other Omega5 products, if you're uploaded into OmegaRecruit with that same email address that you use for Vault or Omega One, you'll be able to have that all linked. So I'll show you the grid when we get into OmegaRecruit, how you could switch between your different apps. All right. And then now we're going to go into recruitment setup. So we've made it as easy as possible for you guys. Recruitment's literally as easy as 1, 2, 3. I know that may be a little cliche, but I promise it really is. So number one, you're just going to add the rounds. 2, you upload your PNMs. And 3, you upload your parties. After that, you guys are literally set to go. You can vote. You can start, interacting with those PNMs and getting together what you think your new member pledge class is going to look like, which is really exciting. So I'm going to switch over to OmegaRecruit so we can start going through those easy 3 steps. And then after that, like I said, we'll go into voting. So I'll also show you what a ballot looks like once we get this set up. Okay, so everybody should be looking at my screen. It should be OmegaRecruit. You can see up here, it says O-PSS test. That's just because we're the professional services team, but yours should have your national or international organization over here and then your specific chapter. So up there, you'll see your chapter's information, and you'll also be brought to this page. Now, I did one step before this got started just so I could go straight and show you how to add users. But when you log into your account, it will have a little pop-up that says you need to set recruitment dates. So when you click that pop-up, it'll bring you to the page you need to go to, but I can show you that right now. It's under the chapter tab. The pop-up is going to bring you to this page. So it's going to bring you to the edit rounds page, but what you do once you get here is you just click edit chapter. and you'll put your recruitment start date and recruitment end date. So I just made it today through, I think that's next Sunday, or no, yeah, next Sunday. I just made it for like this upcoming week, but you obviously will put in your school's recruitment date, so that will be filled in. Once you click save, that pop-up will go away and you'll be able to access all these other tabs. So I'm going to go back to the main screen right here. The first thing that you're going to want to do is add your users. Now, you could start here. You can see add users is, oh, actually it's not listed. Add users will be number 3. We already have some admin list accounts, so the number 3 step isn't going to be there for you guys if you have no users. It'll be there, but that may be the first thing you want to do. So you're going to go to the user tab. If you go to user list, you can see all of the users you currently have. So you can see I'm here, Sarah Beth is here, Heather and Amanda. You probably have been to webinars, or maybe you've heard of them in webinars. They're our team that help do these trainings for you guys. And then you'll also see that the email is listed here. So that's where I was saying before, if people can't log in, you're going to want to double check their email here, and make sure it's the one that they're logging in with. You can also put a group number for them, if you would like to do that for like bump groups, and you can star them. We'll go over this feature later, but since we're on this page, this can be a tool that will be used for matching, which isn't required for a Megafy, or not a Megafy, excuse me, a OmegaRecruit to work, but it is a feature that we have. So what a lot of chapters will do is, if your chapter maybe identifies PNMs that just based on their resume or whatever form they fill out when they sign up for recruitment, you think that maybe they share a lot of values of your chapter and they'd be a great member of your chapter potentially, you may star them and be like, you know what, that's like one of our standout PNMs or an impact PNM, whatever you want to refer to them as. Um, and you may star them. And then what you could do with your users is star your users. So if we know that Amanda, myself, it's kind of weird to talk about myself that way, but maybe as Amanda, myself, and Heather, we are really great recruiters. We can talk to anybody. We're really comfortable with it. We're not nervous at all. Maybe it's not our first recruitment, or maybe we're officers for the chapter and you want your officers to go speak to those standout PNMs. We could star them. So that way, if we use the matching feature later, we can use that as a criteria to say, you know what, these PNMs are really interested in. We want our best recruiters, or maybe our officers, to go talk to them to see if they would be a great fit for the chapter. The other boxes you'll see here are admin. So you can see Amanda, Heather, and Sarah Beth are all admin. I did not list myself as an admin. But I am viewing this from like my work account. Now this test account is the one I'll be switching into to show you the ballot. I made myself not an admin just so you could see what that would look like for all of your members. And then the other things here will be delete and then also restrict. So restrict would be maybe one of your users is going to be like, she's excused for a day of recruitment. Maybe she has work, or I don't know, whatever an excused absence would be for recruitment, you could mark to restrict her. That way, that day she's not there for recruitment, her account isn't active and she's not able to log in and vote. So you could restrict the users there. If you want to add users, so right now we obviously only have 4, but usually I'm assuming your chapters are more than 4 women. We'll go to add users down here, and you have 2 options. You can do one at a time. So if there's only a few people you need to add, I would say just go this way: first name, last name, email. This is also good for if you need to update somebody. If they were added with the wrong email, you'll delete them as a user and then you just re-add them here with the correct email. Or you can use an Excel spreadsheet, so you can choose a file and that way it'll upload your whole chapter at once. Obviously, when you're first setting it up, you're probably going to want to do this Excel spreadsheet instead of having to add everybody one by one. That'd be super time consuming. And then the only other thing under here is user reports, which we're going to go over later. So those are the 2 main things you need to know for adding users. And now we're going to go back to PNM list. You're going to see us go into this page over and over again. Think of this as kind of like your home base during recruitment. So if you ever get lost or forget what step you're on, PNM list. If you don't see it right away, you can just click the setup button and it has everything here that you need to do. So the practice files I was talking about that you guys will be able to use as well are right here. So here's sample PNMs, sample parties, and another sample party. So this is for round 1, and this one's for round 2. It's important, if you're going to use these files, that you pay attention to how many parties, because when we set up our rounds, which I'm about to show you, you're going to want to make sure that you add the appropriate amount of parties. Otherwise, you're going to get an error message when you try to upload that file. So we downloaded our 3 sample files, and now we can go to step 1, which is set up recruitment rounds. The cool thing about this page is if you click this, it's going to take you exactly to the page you need to go to. But if you don't want to click the link, you can also just go down here in these tabs. And if we click chapter, it's going to take us to the same page. So we're going to start by adding rounds. I'm going to add 4 rounds. I think that's kind of standard for a lot of recruitments. You can see here that these pencil icons will allow you to edit the name of the round. So if we wanted to say round 1 was open house, I'm going to capitalize that. Round 2 we may say is sisterhood. Round 3 is philanthropy. And then round 4 you can see is always going to be, it's not round 4, but whatever the last round is going to be, is always going to be flagged as pref. But we can also edit this and put it in pref. Now here's where you can also see the type of voting. So what this is going to do is it's going to restrict your PNM list. So if you are at a larger school where there's like 2,000 PNMs, you probably are not going to want to have this set to open voting, because every single party then, your members are going to have to scroll through 2,000 women to find the person that they spoke to. If we switch this to party voting, it's only going to show them the PNMs that are in that party. So if you remember, the sample file we had for round 1 was 12 parties. We'll set that here. And then for round 2, it was 9. So I'll set that right now. We can do that and click save. Now for y'all, you may not know, obviously going into recruitment, how many parties you're going to have after, this first round, because it really just depends how your chapter votes and the PNMs vote and all the other chapters on your campus. I don't pretend to know how the math works or the algorithm or whatever that may be, but as you know, it kind of depends like what those parties are going to look like, I think. So whenever you get those lists back after each round, you can always go back here, even after it's saved, and you can adjust the parties. So if after round 1, then you know you're going to have 9 parties, you could go at it. And let's say round 2 is over, now we have our party list or whatever, we know there's going to be maybe 4 parties, we could go in and fill that. And then save it. So don't think that you have to know this right away when you set it up. You just need to set up your rounds, and then you can add the parties once you know how many you're going to have for that round. The other thing I want to point out here is that these rounds are able to be opened and closed. So if you're at a school, again, larger schools will do this a lot, where round 1 may span multiple days or round 2 may be more than one day, you do not need to add multiple rounds for each day. You can just add one round for each round, but it could be more than one day. So open house, even though it's only listed as one round, it could still span 2 days, and we'll just be able to open and close it the days that we need it. So that is all of that there. Again, we'll click save. I think I'd already done that, but I just wanted to double check. And now we're going to go back to our PNM list. That's our home base. But I also do want to point out that throughout OmegaRecruit, we have these little pop-up notices. So even if you wanted to go advance the round in party, like start round 1, and you forgot to upload your PNMs, it is going to give you a notification here that you have to import your PNMs. So if we go back to PNM list, and this loads up, you'll see step 1 is gone, which was adding those rounds. So now we can go to step 2, which is upload PNMs. Again, we'll click that. It'll take us right to the page, but also you can always click PNM, add PNM, and this will let you add it one at a time, or, oops, I clicked the wrong one. Or you can upload PNMs, which is going to let you do it by a file, which is the page that it took us to. So I'm going to show you this here. Again, the practice file is set up for you guys, so it'll be good to go. If you're creating your own practice file, or when it's time for actual recruitment and you have to import PNMs, I really want y'all to not upload, but like click this page for the instructions to make sure you import everything correct. Otherwise, you may upload your PNMs and things will maybe give you an error or information won't go in. This will tell you exactly how you need to format your Excel spreadsheet to make sure that all the PNMs import correctly. So you can see up here, it says create an Excel spreadsheet. It'll tell you everything you need to know. And also it'll point out that there is 2 different things. If your school uses ICS or campus director, that can change things. If you have ICS, your PNMs can automatically import. You won't have to like manually upload them, but if you have campus director, you will need to import these files. Also, if you're an ICS school and you're practicing, make sure you unlink your chapter from ICS to do the practice. You just don't want to mess up anything that would be actual recruitment. So that has that listed up here. You'll scroll down, you can see an example of the spreadsheet, and down here are all the headers for each of the columns. So make sure when you're looking at the spreadsheet you created, you have them listed exactly like this. I would probably just copy and paste to be safe. If, for example, like you just put first names and put an S at the end, it's not going to import that column correctly. It has to be listed as first name. Same with preferred name, all of these. If you have a column labeled in your spreadsheet that has information that's not one of these categories right here, you do have the option to do custom 1, custom 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. Make sure you change the column name to one of those custom ones, and you'll be able to edit it later back to what um, ever its like actual descriptor is. But when you import it, you want to make sure it's set as custom. And then the other thing down here will tell you what type of spreadsheet to save it as. So it's an Excel 97-2003 workbook, XLS file, and then it also has it shown here in this image, a screenshot we have uploaded. It'll tell you how to save it. Once it's done, you'll be able to upload the file. So let's go back to PNM upload. We'll choose the file, and we want our PNMs list. We'll click upload PNMs. Now here you can see it successfully imported 99 of our PNMs, and then it also shows information down here. So it said warning missing unrequired column. So you can see these things did not go in correctly. This is just something we have in here to show you guys that errors will pop up. If something didn't go in exactly how you would expect it, you'll be able to see it down here. But for the sake of this webinar, we're just going to ignore it. Just know that these things are there. Okay, and now we're going to go back to PNM list. Again, it's like our home base. You can see step 2 is here, again, if we want to add more PNMs. But now we're ready to go ahead and advance round and party. If you recall, step 3 was adding users, and we did that first. We had already had them in there, so we can skip over step 3. That's why it's gone. And now we're at step 4 and step 5. These will stay here because you're going to need these steps throughout recruitment, so they aren't going to disappear once you use them. You'll just be able to go back here and click through it as we go through recruitment. So if we go to step 4, advanced round and party, we can have it set to before recruitment. So that just means recruitment hasn't started. If your chapter does like letters of recommendation, things like that, it'll be set to before recruitment as those get imported. But once you're ready to start voting and have your first party, you'll want to switch it to the round. So if we switch it to open house, we can see party 1 is listed, and the round status would be open. But if I click change, it's not going to actually be able to upload party 1 because we haven't uploaded our parties. So what we need to do is go to PNM, upload parties. You can see it's set for open house. We're going to choose the file, and we're going to do parties 1, submit parties. Again, this has the instructions of exactly how you're going to need to import those parties. This one's way simpler than the other one. So you just need the ID number and then the party that they're in here. And now when we go back to chapter, which is the page that link brought us to advance the round and party, we can switch it to open house, party 1. The status is open. We click change status. And now only the PNMs who are going to be in the first party will show up on the ballot. And then your members are good to go ahead and start voting. Once round 1, party 1's over, you can change the round to closed, click change status. You can advance the party to party 2, open it up, click change status. You're just going to do this throughout recruitment as you advance through the rounds and parties. So that is as simple as it is. There are a lot more features I want to show you guys now, but just if you used like bare bones of OmegaRecruit, that is how quickly you could get through adding your PNMs, adding your parties, your voting members, all of that, and get to voting. So now to show you guys some of the extras, because I think that's what makes OmegaRecruit really great. We're going to go back to PNM list, and I'm going to close the setup steps here to really show you what these columns look like. So here you can see all of the PNMs. We have cute little bear pictures for them because we didn't want to pick like random women and put them on here if they didn't know. So we have little bears, we have fake names. You can see their parties, their overall score will be here, their ID number, all of that. And what's really cool about these columns is they're editable. So if you want to click this little hamburger menu, you can click select columns, and this is going to show you what columns you're able to view. So maybe if it's before recruitment, you know, seeing their scores aren't going to be the most important because they aren't going to have any, but maybe you want to look at their high school GPA or where they went to high school or their major, different things like that. Whatever fields you may think are important, you can select. Or once you get into recruitment, if maybe you think those fields aren't as important to see and you just want to see scores, you can uncheck a lot of these columns, and then they'll disappear. I'm going to leave a few of these still showing for you guys. And then we can see these are the round scores down here. We're going to click done. And you can see now it updated our column. The other cool thing about this is you can rearrange the order these show in. So if we don't really care about major, like right now, I don't think we uploaded majors for these fake P&Ms. We could, if you didn't want to unselect it, you could just drag it and it's going to move it back. So we can move this all the way back to the end. Or if maybe we're like, you know what, we know this P&M, I know what Claire's major is after speaking with her, you can double click in this column. It'll let you edit it and you could say it's journalism and click enter. And now it's going to update that column live. So now we know that Claire's major is journalism. You have that information there if you'd like it. Same with these interests, you can edit these. So if, again, you're going to use the matching feature, I'll show you that a little bit later. You may want to go in and edit these because for the matching feature to work, you need their interests to perfectly match how your members' interests are written. So this is kind of a bad example, but maybe Claire said she likes swimming and then Sarah Beth said she likes to swim. It's not going to match them. So you'll want to make sure you give your members like maybe like a pre-done list of how they should put in their interests. And then if you guys have a membership team or an equivalent or advisors who go in here, you can edit how these P&M's interests are and you can make sure they match how your members would be putting that in. So that way you can use them in the matching feature. So all of this will be editable for you guys to look at. I'm going to unselect a lot of these columns now just because I think it'll be easier once we get into voting to see just their scores. Okay, we'll click done. And now we can see, again, it cleaned it up and now we have a way shorter list. I can't even scroll anymore. You can also see here is the starred. So if we had gone through our P&Ms and we decided that Ashley, just again, based on her resume, we think maybe she'd be a great fit for OmegaFi, we can star her. Same with Haley. You can use this feature however you want, but maybe that's how you're doing it. You can star them. And then again, when we show you, go over that matching feature, now those best recruiters that I marked on our user list will match with these P&Ms depending on how important we rate that matching category. So you can go through, star them here. The other thing I want to show you on this page is this hamburger icon, the slideshow. So this is going to let you go through your P&Ms on the slideshow. It is important here to read this really quick. So remember the first time I went through this, I didn't know how to get out of it. So whenever you're done looking at it, just click the escape key, which maybe seems common knowledge. Or if you want to have a printable version of this, you can click the letter P on your keyboard and it'll take you through it. But if we start clicking through it, we can start seeing our P&Ms. So you can see, hey, Haley Burger here. This is the cute little bear, Haley. And then we can see information about her. So again, maybe you want to go through these. It's sometimes nice to get, I say get to know. Obviously, you don't know them. Just based on the information they give you, maybe familiarize yourself with them. So that way when they come into the house, maybe you start recognizing faces and more of your members can just greet her as she comes in to make her feel super welcome. Also, it'll be nice if you start to get to know them, maybe knowing their hometown or their class, you'll have something to speak about. Some P&Ms are super chatty, and as you guys probably know, some get really nervous. So maybe they aren't the most chatty right off the bat, but knowing maybe some of these interests or where they're from can help get a conversation going and make them feel, again, really welcome. So if you guys want to use this feature for that, you can, or whatever else you may use this for, you can always go through the slideshow and it'll show you all of those members. Last thing on this page is you can see these search features. So you can search based on active, their year in school. If you want to search by their name, we can do that. And then again, you can also use this feature over here to sort. So it has round one, ascending, descending, whatever you want to do it. You'll have those options there. I think that should be good. Oh, last thing, exporting P&M list. If you'd like to export this page, I knew I had to double check. You'll just want to click this little export button. It'll download it. Since I'm here, I also will point out if you have people voting or maybe you add a comment or something and it's not showing right away, before panicking or thinking something's broken, I would always click this hamburger icon and click refresh just to make sure you have the most up-to-date information on OmegaRecruit. If your screen's been up and your members are submitting votes, it may not show it right away. You just got to click refresh and it'll show it there. Moving down, actually, I think I'm going to vote first so I can show you some of those other features. Let me switch my screen because I think a lot of what's cool about OmegaRecruit that's left will make more sense if we have some votes in there, so I can actually show you the reports. So I'm going to go back to chapter. If you guys remember, we do have open house still as the active party. We're on party 2. So when I pull up my ballot, let me share my screen again. I'm going to have to refresh this page. We'll be able to see the ballot. So here you can see a drop-down list of PNMs. You can see this is definitely not 99 PNMs. This is a very short list, and that's because it's only showing us the PNMs in Party 2. So if I had gone through recruitment and I spoke to Afton, I can select her name and we'll vote. So the scale that we have for this OmegaFi account is just 1 through 5. We'll say 1 being not so great and 5 is we absolutely need her at OmegaFi. I'm going to give Afton a 5. I can add a comment, so I could say, I could write something nice. Maybe I'm like, she was really social, really interested, excited about our philanthropy. I could put maybe information, however you guys choose to use this field. If this is a field you have on your ballot, you'll want to put in information that way. So in this case, I'm going to just use it as like good comments. So I'm going to say super excited about, ooh, if I could type, OmegaFi. And then I can also recommend a member match. So maybe if after talking to her, I was like, Afton was so fun to talk to and she reminds me so much of Sarah Beth, I could go here, click Sarah Beth, it'll recommend her as a member match. So then later in recruitment, later rounds, maybe it'll match them up so that way they can talk. So I think they get along great. If I was in a bump group, I talked to Afton, maybe I talked to a few more people. I talked to Hillary after that. I could say, you know, I really liked Hillary. She wasn't as amazing as Afton to me. Afton has got to be an OmegaFi member, but maybe Hillary was really great. I could give her a 4, and I could say excited about our philanthropy, whatever it may be. Again, I could recommend a member match. I'm like, Heather maybe is our VP of philanthropy. I'm like, if she's excited about her philanthropy, I want her talking to Heather. I could click submit and you'll just go through. So any of the women that you talk to, you'll be able to select them here and vote on them and just put in comments. Maybe I won't recommend a member match because I only gave her a 2 and I'll click submit. So now that we've put in a few votes, I'm going to go back to OmegaRecruit, the other one, not my fake account, so we can review the PNM list. Okay, so you should be looking back at this main screen and you can see now that some of these votes have started to come in. You can see that Audrey here got a 2. I feel a little bit sorry about that because she probably was a great girl, but just for the sake of the example, I needed to give a couple different scores. And we can scroll down through here and we're going to see more and more. So if I click on Afton's name, I can see her vote details. So you can see that I submitted a vote on her. I gave her a 5. If other people in my bump group, like Sarah Beth and Heather, had also talked to her, their votes would stack up under mine and we could see all the votes there. You can see there's an option to edit votes and delete them. So maybe I gave her a 5, or maybe I accidentally gave her a 1 and click submit and I didn't mean to. I could go back to one of the admin for my chapter and say, hey, I really loved Afton. I accidentally clicked 1. I got mixed up. I thought 1 was the best. Can you help me edit this? Your administrators, so in which case will be y'all, will be able to go in here, click edit, and you can change the vote number. This will log it, and I'll show you the report. So any vote changes made will go to a report. It'll log who changed it, at what time, what the first vote was, what the second vote was. So you're not going to lose any of that information. It is secure, it's still honest. So if you see votes are changed and you think maybe that doesn't sound right, you could go see who did it. I don't think y'all will run into that problem, but worst case scenario, if anything happened, you'll be able to pull that from a report. So we could go in here, edit it, click save. I'm going to click cancel because I didn't change it. Or if maybe I was going through and I actually spoke to Ashley and accidentally clicked Afton and voted, I could again go to my VP of recruitment and say, hey, I accidentally put a vote on Afton, but I didn't talk to her. Can you delete that one? I already like submitted the vote on the correct girl's account. So that way you could go in here, delete this if it wasn't a valid vote. And again, that's going to be on the audit report I'll show you later. You can switch between the parties here. So if we had progressive recruitment, maybe it was pref, you could go all the way down here and see again, like the votes and comments in each of these different rounds. If we click comments, we can see what I put here. Again, if Sarah Beth or Heather or Amanda or whoever else commented, they would all stack up under here. And also if it was like a mistake, again, if I maybe voted or made a comment on the wrong person, you could delete it. That way you aren't having, you know, incorrect data on P&Ms that didn't need that information. You can also go over here to status and party. Maybe if after open house, she no longer, like she didn't get asked back, her status could be changed, or here would be active, down here it would be changed to um, maybe release. You could say she withdrawn, whatever it was. This, you can fill this information in and it'll fill in down here. Also, if I know it's not super common, but there's always I feel like every recruitment, maybe a P&M's party gets changed because there's like an extenuating circumstance. Maybe Afton was originally part of party 2, but she couldn't make that party. And again, it was excused by Panhellenic and everything. She went through the right process. And maybe she got moved to party 12. You can go in here and update her party number so that way she shows up on the correct ballot when your members go to vote in party 12. And that way you don't have to like re-upload your whole party list. Over here is P&M details. So this is just going to be everything we uploaded from that spreadsheet, everything we saw in those columns. You can also edit it here. So if you need to change your high school or hometown, you could do that. Sometimes with hometowns, like for example, OmegaPhi is in Columbus, Georgia, but I think my technical address says I live in Midland. No one knows what Midland is. Honestly, probably a lot of y'all don't know what Columbus, Georgia is either, to be fair. But if you wanted to go in and edit these, if you're like, I know Midland's like right outside of Columbus, it's like super small and it'll be easier to match her for hometowns just Columbus, Georgia, you could update that here. And then over here we have recruitment stats. So there's not much to look at here because I was the only one voting, but as more votes come in, you can see the distribution. You'll be able to see how many votes she got in each like value, I guess. It's not a category. I guess it'd be a value. So how many ones, twos, threes, fours, fives she got. You'll be able to see all of that there. Going back to P&M list, again, showing you guys some of those extras. We have comments. So this is going to show all of the comments that are on your P&Ms. You can search for a P&M. So if we wanted to just look for Afton, we could type in her name. It'll only show that. Or again, we can go back and see all of these and you can download it. So if you want a report that shows you all the comments made on P&Ms during recruitment, you can click download and that will show you those. You'll have to click to view the comment. And then you can also select around using the drop down, but that's not really going to apply to this one. All right, moving back here, we have recs. I don't spend too much time on this because I know it really varies chapter to chapter if y'all do letters of rec or not, but this is there if y'all need it. You can click this link, click export if you want to download it. And that way, if you guys do those pre-scores or letters of recommendation, you can use those. A lot of you may also get them from your national or international organization already done, not through OmegaRecruit. So I won't spend too much time on this, but that is there if you guys need it. And then down here we have reports. So these are going to be super straightforward, but I'll still cover them with you guys really quick. For P&Ms, if you want to download all of them, you could do it from the P&M list, or you could do it here. If you want to include the comments, you just check this box. If you only want to see active P&Ms, you'll click that and you can download it to Excel. Sometimes people like to do this at the end of each round just so you have everything downloaded, a history. Nothing should happen to your account, but if somebody, we've had it before where people accidentally, like click master reset and wipe all of their data during recruitment. That way you'll still have all that information there. So you can download that to Excel, only show the active P&Ms, or you can show all of them however you want to do it. P&M status, again, this will show active P&Ms or non-active P&Ms, and I'll just tell them the status for the rounds. Votes are exactly what they say they are. You can see the votes for each round. Again, you have these filters, same with comments. You can see the sort option. So if you did it by user, it's going to show my name and then it'll show all the comments I made that round. If we did it by P&M, it would show, for example, like Afton's name and all the comments she got by round. So you can choose to do it that way, or you can also do it by time. Slideshow, this is very similar to the slideshow I showed you before, but instead of having to click print and print it that way, this will download it to PowerPoint. So if you want to do only active P&Ms, you can do this. If you want to include the pictures, you can do that. My chapter like to use this just to, again, like get familiar with the P&Ms before they came in the door. So we would spend a little bit of time each day during Polish Week going over the P&Ms, just like getting familiar with their faces, their hometown, some of their interests, so that way we could be, again, really welcoming when they came in so they weren't feeling maybe a little nervous or out of place or anything like that. So you could download a PowerPoint, start going through those, or again, use a PowerPoint for whatever you need. I know everybody is different, every chapter is different. So however that resource would be useful to you guys, you can use it. Voter distribution, again, it's just going to show you a breakdown. You can filter it by round or do all rounds. And then vote audit report. This is where it's going to show you the changes made to a vote. Let me actually change one just so I can show you. I should have saved that before. So if we change Audrey's vote, maybe because I felt bad about giving her a 2, maybe I really didn't mean it. We could click edit, and I'm going to give her a 5. We'll click save. If we go back to this P&M's reports and we go to the vote audit report and download it to a PDF, it's going to take a second. You can see all of the changes that were made. So you can see a vote was changed by me. The old vote was 5, new vote was 3. That was on Ashley. This is just like a whole history here. And then it also will tell you, or it should show you the time, yeah, date and time, so you can see that there. Now this does have like historical information, so you can see this was from June, and that was just another webinar we did. You could see that I made some vote changes there, but the one I just did today, you could see was that old vote value is 2, the new vote value is 5, and we could see it was on Audrey's account, the round, time, all of that. So you'll have that information if you need to change something back, or if you maybe need to investigate if something maybe that's not feeling too right is going on, you can look there. Hopefully no one has to deal with that, but just in case, you do have this as a backup. We covered everything under users, but we can go to user reports now. This is just going to download name, email, hometown, all of that. So you can see all of your users' information here, as well as their interests. So if you guys want to manually match up members and P&Ms, maybe useful to download this user report and then also download the P&M list if you don't want to use the matching feature in OmegaRecruit. Going down here to the hub, I'm not going to spend too much time on this page either because it's just a bunch of graphs and data, and this isn't going to be that interesting because I only voted on like 3 P&Ms, so you're not going to be able to see much here. But just know this will probably be really useful information as you get your whole chapter voting on hundreds to thousands of P&Ms, depending what your school's recruitment looks like. You can scroll through here and see a breakdown. This is kind of a nice one to show you an example because we imported all those GPAs. So you can kind of see what GPAs are looking like for all the P&Ms that are going through recruitment. If, you know, maybe almost all the P&Ms have like 3.0s to 3.5s, it maybe you don't want to be like 4.0 or nothing because maybe there's only a few P&Ms that have like a 4.0. Usually that's not the case. You usually get like a pretty good distribution, but again, it just like gives you some perspective, overhead view of the members or potential new members, I should say, that are coming in. And then again, you can just keep scrolling through these. If you flip it over, it'll break down the numbers for you. So you can see, this is my user here. You can see, I think this is a vote count, or no, comments. So you can see I made 2 comments. And again, you can go through here. So if you guys really encourage using comments, maybe this would be a useful thing to look at and say, Amanda, can you maybe add a few more comments when you're voting just so we get an idea of what you guys talked about or more information on the P&M. Another thing that my chapter probably used this the most for, or same if we downloaded that voter distribution report, is it's really nice to like give P&Ms 5s, obviously, but not everybody can be a 5, and giving somebody a 4 doesn't mean they're bad, or giving them a 3. Like my chapter would be like, you know, like a 3 is still a really good score. That means we'd be happy for them to be at Omega Phi. A 4 is like, I'd be really happy, and 5 is like, we can't not have this person at Omega Phi. So our VP of recruitment would maybe go through it and they would say, guys, I know these girls are really great, but we can't give everybody a 5 because then when we go to make our list to submit, we can't have everybody having the same score. So then we would go over again what those values mean. They would always put it in our head like 3 is not a bad score, 4 is not a bad score. Like you can use all of these and it doesn't mean you don't want them here. We just need more of a distribution for this list to have meaningful data. Otherwise, everyone's going to be a 5 and we're not going to be able to really differentiate which P&Ms are going to be the best fit for our chapter. So you'll be able to use these for whatever you guys need. Refer to them throughout recruitment. They're going to be updating with live data. So each day they're going to look completely different for you guys. Going down to matching now, this is the feature I was talking about a lot during this webinar. Not required, again, for you to use the software, but it is a really useful feature. So you can see we have these different sections here. I'm not going to mark recommendations as something we're going to use. The test account, we didn't really do that. But if we did want that, if that's a requirement for your chapter, you could click use and you could say it's required. I'm not doing that. But I am going to say the starred members is a field we're going to use to match up our members with PNMs, and we're going to say it's required. So that way, those best recruiters are getting matched with their best, not best, I guess the PNMs are most interested in. We'll be able to require that, and we can say it's super important to us. Interest, we could say, is a 3. We're going to use it. Doesn't have to match on that, but we can. And same with hometown. Again, those just give you an easy thing to start talking about. You can choose the max number of matches per member, max number of matches per PNM, and then you can choose the round in the party. So I'm going to say all parties, or I could do party 1. I'm just gonna do all parties because again, I don't have like a ton of information in here because it's a test account. But when you guys do it, you'll probably want to match up your PNMs by party. So that way you could get a list and maybe know how you're going to order yourselves to pick up PNMs at the door or whatever it may be. So we can click generate matches. And then you can see here, this is how we have it matched up. So in party 8, Amanda, she doesn't have to, but if we use this match feature, we're going to say party 8, Amanda is going to be picking up Haley at the door and she's going to speak with her. Party 1, she's going to be talking to Ashley. I also got matched with Ashley for party 1, so we could pick between these, or maybe me and Amanda are in a bump group, so I'll bump her. And then for party 8, I'm going to be talking to Haley. So we only start a couple PNMs. So there's, again, not a ton to go off of here. But if you have, maybe like 100, if you have a huge recruitment, like thousands, maybe you have like 100 PNMs starred and you have like, I don't know, 30 recruiters starred that you think would be really great to talk to them, you could do that, and then you're going to get more matches. Also, as your members put in interest and you fill in those interests for the PNMs and have that written kind of the same way, you'll be able to match based on interests and things like that. Again, this is just a test account, so I don't have all of that information here to show you guys, but just know this feature is there. You can also manually add matches. So if maybe you have like 20 PNMs in party 1 and we only match based on party 1 and you see that only 19 PNMs matched, we could add a new match and you could manually add, maybe Heather's going to talk to Alexis. She was like the last PNM we needed to match up. We could click save, and then now you'll be able to export this to a PDF and you know who's going to be talking to who, party 1 or round 1 or however you have it set up. Okay, moving down now, vote. This is where your ballot's going to be. The reason I don't do it on this account is because it's my work account, so it doesn't let me vote. But the ballot that I showed you earlier, or I can bring it over again. It's just going to bring you to this page. So all of y'all's accounts will be able to click that vote button and it's going to bring you to the ballot. If the round or party isn't open, it's just going to show that there's no ballot there for you guys. So let me move this back over. If we went to chapter, like let's say open house is done, we could do closed, change status. Let me update my little fake account. We bring it over here. You can see the voting round is closed. So you're no longer able to see that. And then everything else under here, chapter, this is the page we're on to open and close parties and rounds. So again, after each party, each round, you're going to want to go back to this page, or you can access it from PNM list in our setup list where it says, oops, here we go. When it says upload PNM, oh no, excuse me, advanced round and party, it'll bring you here. So you're going to want to do that after each round, each day. This is where you're going to edit the rounds. So if you need to change the number of parties, you can go in here, fill that in, click save. Your chapters information should already be in here. That's like the first thing you do when you set up your account, so that should be good. And this is where the ICS info is. So if you're going to be testing and your school uses ICS for recruitment, I would unconnect y'all's accounts before testing, and then whenever it's time for real recruitment, you can relink those together. That way it's going to import those PNMs and parties for you guys. If you're a campus director school, you'll be able to ignore this page because it's not going to apply to you. And then the last thing under chapter information I'm going to show you guys is master reset. So you'll need to know what this is if you're going to be practicing, which is one of our recommendations. Once we're done practicing all this information, or you guys are done practicing with your fake PNMs, you're going to click master reset. It's going to remove, you can see the PNMs, votes and comments, and the system will be set back to before recruitment. Your user list will be fine. However, if you know how like OmegaFi's master reset works, this one's a little bit different. When we do it, we will remove those PNMs, but for this one, master reset, when you're doing practice, it's not going to remove your user list. So you'll be able to practice all of your members, master reset it and wipe it. once real recruitment starts, pretend like this page doesn't exist, because if you master reset your account um, and real recruitment's going on, we can't guarantee that we'll be able to get your information back. You may have just like wiped all of your P&Ms and votes and data from recruitment. So real recruitment starts, this page doesn't exist to y'all. I would just not let anyone go to it. We do have some things put in place. So if you try to click this button, it gives you this big warning where you have another chance to back out of it. Again, don't test it to make sure the warning works. I would just avoid this page. I'm going to click cancel because I don't want to wipe this data. But once you guys are done practicing, you're going to go to master reset the account, recruitment, real recruitment will start, and then you'll be able to put in all your information. And you're just going to want to leave everything. You don't want to wipe anything at all. Under here, we have configuration. So we're on the OmegaFi national organization account, whatever it is. So you can see our ballot and rounds information is here, round score, how this works. Some of you may have different information on this page. So if your national or international organization partners with us, you'll have like specific information of how y'all's organization votes listed here. There'll also be a link to a YouTube video that walks you through what voting is going to look like for your chapter. Some of you may have extra rounds that, again, I'm not going to get into because they don't apply to everybody, but um, definitely check out this page for your chapter. Watch the video so that way you know exactly how you need to set up y'all's account if maybe you have those extra rounds, or if your ballot, some of you guys do not have a 1 through 5 ballot. It may be different numbers or different categories. You're going to want to make sure you know exactly what that's supposed to look like by watching the YouTube video that'll be linked up here. The other thing we have down here is training. So everything that we went over in this webinar is linked here. This is one that I'm not sure which one this is. Maybe it's one Sarah Beth did or I did. It's an older webinar, but it's not that old. It's the same information that I gave you guys today. You also can scroll through, and this walks you through every single step of recruitment that we covered today, but it's written out. Sarah Beth worked really hard on this, and I'm really thankful she did, because I can't imagine taking on this project. This is so much, so many words and screenshots and everything that she put together, these little arrows she added on there. That was a lot of work. So we're very thankful for you, Sarah Beth, for putting all of this together. You guys will have this and be able to refer back to it. So again, if you maybe forget something that we went over in this webinar, you can always check here. Another thing you can do is click this Get Help button. It'll take you to our knowledge base. You can search keywords. So if you want to, look up articles on users, you could type in users, and it'll add, give you all these articles. What is a starred user? Can I manually add one? How to remove old administrators? All of that is going to be listed here. Another cool feature we have that I actually, it's been here and I've just never used it, is this support button. If you click it, this is also just going to give you the same search bar that's right up here, but you stay in this app. So you can type in users, and then you can see the articles are like listed here. So I could just click it, and that way it's going to stay all within the app. You're not going to like be switched to this tab. Not that that's the worst thing in the world, but it is kind of a cool feature, and then you can just minimize it whenever you're done. All right, so that is everything that we're going to go over today. I am going to switch back over just to give you a couple more reminders, and then we're going to move into that Q&A. Sarah Beth will definitely help us with that. So I'm going to pause my screen, switch back to my PowerPoint, and here are my reminders. So I've said this a lot, so you're probably tired of hearing me say it, but best thing to do, prepare for recruitment. And preparation equals success, as you can see we have listed here, is log in, make sure everybody can log in, check to make sure those emails are the same as what people are trying to log in as, avoid that common issue. Make sure you practice and make sure you train. So make sure you guys go through maybe a mock recruitment, make sure you know what your resources are, familiarize yourself with it. So that way if something comes up during recruitment, it's nothing you need to be worried about or panic about. You know exactly the tools you have that you can use to get answers to the questions you need. I know recruitment's stressful, so maybe right now you guys are feeling really good, and maybe you feel good throughout the whole thing, but if you're anything like me, you feel really great. And then once recruitment started, my anxiety would go up a little bit, so I'd be a little stressed. So it's really good making sure you iron all these things out now, so that way when different things pop up, as we know, no matter how prepared we are, recruitment's unpredictable. So something may come up, you'll know exactly where you can go to find answers to all of your questions. And for that, I'm also going to switch my slide over to questions so I can hear maybe some of the questions you guys have now that we could get answered before again, you're in that recruitment scenario and having to reach out to our support team. Sarah Beth, do you see any in the chat?
Yes, we have lots of great questions today. One, do you mind going to your ballot in your like test user one that has your like match profile and everything?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I should have showed you all that. So that's a good question. Okay, so if I'm in, this is an OmegaRecruit account, like I'm a user. Down here, you can see match profile. You can see my city. So it's set to Columbus. My state is Georgia. And then we have the interests listed here. So if I wanted to add, like they have the example of soccer, I could type in soccer, click plus, and now it's going to be added to my interests. I'll click save
Perfect. I know that
changes.
was one of the questions about
Hmm.
where that could be asked if it was able to be uploaded. So not able to be uploaded, but encourage your members to fill out their match profile, and that is where that information will pull from. Another one, can you go to the vote, like to the ballot itself?
Hmm. Do you need me to reopen it?
Yeah, if it's closed.
Okay. Y'all just give
I
me
just
one
wanted to,
second.
if you'll show once you're able to open that and go to the ballot, if you'll show the light bulb feature, there was some people asking about the like specification of, you know, if there's multiple PNMs with similar names, what
Hmm.
information else is on the ballot that we can identify them from.
Okay, let me refresh. Okay, are y'all seeing my ballot again?
Yes.
Okay, so here you can see if we select the name, it has the picture. But like Sarah Beth said, there's also this light bulb, and when we click it, it's going to have their high school, their interests are listed here, their hometown, GPA, their class, high school GPA, all this information is going to be here. So you can easily see that when you're on the ballot, if you need a quick reminder, like Sarah Beth said, or whoever asked it in the chat. Sometimes you have people with common first names, like Anna may be one, and you can't remember which Anna you spoke to. You don't know her last name. You can always go here and see the picture and also click the light bulb and get some information so it will jog your memory on which one, which Anna maybe you spoke to.
And that's also another nice thing about party voting. If you know which party you spoke to an Anna in, you can more easily narrow it down. You know, rather than 10 Annas, maybe you're only looking at 2 different Annas.
Hmm.
Um, Another question that I had a few of at the beginning, and just to clarify, I know Hannah on the PowerPoint presentation showed the activation page. That is for if you have never used OmegaRecruit before, maybe this is your first semester, you'll get that activation email from Get Started at OmegaFi when they are setting up your account. If you are a returning account though, as long as you were marked admin before the master reset occurred, you will still have admin status and you can log in like you normally would, and then you'll be able to get started on your account the same way by adding your users, going through the setup process that Hannah has showed us today. But I just wanted to, I had a few people asking about the activation email, so that will only be for anybody who is like a brand new user to OmegaRecruit.
Hmm.
Also, Hannah, would you mind going to the matching page? And we had somebody ask about just being able to see recommendations instead of like any of the other criteria. And will you show how you can select just that? So if you're not
Hmm.
wanting all the other info?
Yeah, so if you did matching, oh, let me go back. These are already our done ones. We're going to calculate matches. If it was just based on those recommendations you put in, like during voting, you could click use, make it required, and you could uncheck these things. So that way it's only going to show you, like on the ballot, if we had said we recommend her to speak with Sarah Beth, it'll only show that. I don't know if this is going to generate matches for us. Yeah, well, okay, so we put a few in. So we have Sarah Beth and Heather, and you can do it that way.
And then let's see, we have, like I said, sorry, lots of questions today. Another one we had was about if there's like any updates made to PNMs, um, re-uploading that information. So you can re-upload a file. The MIN that
Hmm.
is listed, or some people may use PNM ID. That's going to give them an individual like uh, distinction. So when you update their information, I would suggest, just to be safe, save your original file and make any updates in that original file and re-upload it. It won't duplicate anything. It'll just make
Mhm.
the changes that you put in. I think that may be it. There were some other questions that were organization specific, so I
Mhm.
will follow up with those. Oh wait, hold on. I got one more. So going back to the matching with the recommendations,
Mhm.
um, they're asking about raw data members input on recommendations, not just run matching off recommendations alone. So when you're running that quote unquote matching report, if you're doing just the recommendations, like Hannah was showing, that is going to show all recommendations that were put in there. So it's not going to just be like suggested, it will show all of them. So that's the same, it would be the same thing. It's all your recommendations in there, just to clarify, because that was the question. And there was some clarification on that needed. But I think other than that, that's pretty much any or all
Okay.
the questions that we had. All the rest I answered. So yeah.
Okay. Perfect. So what y'all should be looking at now then is just our contact information, our help information. So the email is recruitment_support@omegafy.com. During recruitment season, this will be 24/7 support. So even if it's like middle of the night and you guys are having to get your list in, you need help with something, you can email us and our recruitment support team will be able to help you. Non-recruitment season, it'll just be normal business hours. So if you email us on like a Saturday, we may, get back to you on Monday. But during recruitment season, it'll be 24/7 support. If people need help logging in, so if you've already checked and it's the correct email with the member's name and the member's logging in with that email, you're solving issues, you can email login support@omegafy.com. That team deals just with login questions, so you'll get the fastest help there for that. And then that in-app help that I showed you, you can click the support button or you can just click the get help button. It'll take you to the knowledge base. So we have all of those articles in there that walk you guys through pretty much anything you could think of with the OmegaRecruit or answer most any question you could come up with. If there's ever a question that you have that you can't find an answer to in the help center, you can always email us. We're happy to write more articles or just answer your question if it's maybe specific only to your chapter. But other than that, I really appreciate you guys joining us today. I know it's a long webinar and I did go over by about 5 minutes. So I appreciate you guys sticking it out and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Thank you.